everyone. Welcome back to It Stays in the House. My name is Angel.
I am Mom.
And today we're going to be talking about marriage.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
The needed subject.
The most needed subject. Well, one of the most needed subjects.
Yes.
I want to start it off by just acknowledging that I feel like you've been married twice.
Yes.
Once in the 70s, once in the second time was in the 90s.
Yes.
And then now, you're not married anymore. What do you see that's different in marriages from each of those segments? So from the 70s to the 90s to now, as I don't know, by you being a pastor, what are you seeing within your counseling without going into too much detail and telling people's confidential business? What do you see different from 70s, 90s to the 2000s?
Commitment.
Oh.
It's simply commitment. In the 70s, there was still that man mentality that a man's job was to love, provide, and protect his wife and family. Mm-hmm. And in the 70s, men were thriving and learning and knowing themselves because they came from that generation of civil rights and after Jim Crow, that the man was the head. He stood strong and his self-worth was evolved around his wife and his children. Mm-hmm. And so men loved being men. They would get together and talk about their wives and their families. And so when I married your dad, that is the way it was. The first thing he made plain to me was, you never have to work. You never have to work. If you choose to work, I will not tell you what you cannot do. But it was his responsibility to provide and to nurture what I needed. And as a result, that was what I married into, that thought process of the commitment to the marriage, the commitment to my financial, emotional, spiritual well-being. And so I never thought about money because he always provided. Mm-hmm. And the commitment was that if he looked good, I looked good. If he ate, I ate. And so that was always that commitment. And in the 70s, that was one of the strongest things I noticed among men. They enjoy that commitment of bragging on their families. Mm-hmm. In the 90s, it began to wane. And it was not as strong because men were sadly getting caught up in the drug environment. And the family stability was becoming so weakened at that point where you could see the strain on the marriages. And even though that was not my case, I saw that all around me. And the commitment to marriage was not as strong because I can speak for me. Going through what I went through, I did not have as strong as a commitment as I even should have. I'm being very honest about that.
In the 90s.
In the 90s. But the men that chose marriage, they were still committed. Mm-hmm. The sad thing that I'm seeing today in counseling and in talking with the men today, the young men today, there's no commitment. Oh. That is the one thing that I see lacking in this generation and these dates and times. They are with the woman until she does something. If she doesn't say the right thing or does not respond properly, it can be a full-blown engagement. Mm-hmm. And it can be canceled at, she did not respond to me, or I don't trust her now. Wait a minute, you were just engaged yesterday. Forget it, this morning. And now this evening something went wrong and the entire marriage is over. that is a lack of commitment.
Yes.
So that is the difference. The young men today are not committing to one woman. They're not committing to a marriage. They're not even committing to themselves because they're out there just spreading themselves commonly among multiple women. And so that commitment to building stability, love, provide, protect, it's just not there anymore.
Do you think that, well, maybe I should reword that and say, I think, and no, I'm not married, never been married, but I think that people are afraid of tough conversations.
Okay.
And in my just personal opinion, I don't feel like any relationship, whether it's a marriage or not, will stand the test of times without going through a series of tough conversations, because you don't see yourself and nor do you experience yourself. Everybody else can see you and experience you. You have an idea of who you are and what you're exuding. But if someone is telling you that is experiencing you, hey, you're giving off this or you're giving off that, a lot of people don't want to have, if it's, oh, you're giving off so much good energy and so much, they love that conversation. But when it says, you're giving me, I don't know, what's like,
negativity.
Right. You're giving me some sort of negativity. And then it's like, well, where did that come from? And then that obviously is the beginning of a conversation. That's when the conversation usually stops. And people go into, they don't want to talk anymore.
My mother and father always had this statement, and it sounds crazy, but think about it. Anybody can be at the top of the hill and just fall down and get to the bottom. But it takes someone that loves you, trusts you, even respects you, to help you pull that heavy load of a wagon up the hill, because that is when it is the hardest. And that's likened unto marriage. Today, young people just want the thought of marriage, but no one wants the hard conversations nor the hard times to build a marriage. Marriage is hard work.
It's selfless.
Okay, thank you. Selfless. Marriage is the one thing that you will do that it will appear to be endless on what you have to do just to keep it going. Because marriage requires work daily. And it causes you to give of yourself to pull that wagon up the hill. And the load is heavy because life be lifing.
Where you get that from, girl?
You. I got it from you.
Life do be lifing.
And things get rough. And you feel as if you're not doing enough, but yet you have so much more to do. And that's likened unto marriage. You're going to have some downfalls. You're going to have some days when you're not going to see eye to eye. As I tell people, in marriage, you have to look at it like a mouth. You have teeth and you have a tongue. You need your teeth, you need your tongue. But every now and then, in talking or chewing, your tongue gets in the way of your teeth and it gets bitten. It hurts. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to cut your tongue out? Are you going to extract all of your teeth? Well, you need both of them. So what you must learn to do is make sure that they know how to coexist in a small space, because both are needed. Teeth and tongue will fall out, and they're in the same space. A marriage has to learn how to navigate through the hard times, the hard conversations, as well as the good times. You can't just go extract your teeth or cut out your tongue because you don't like a conversation or a situation. You have to stay there and work it out. And the young people today do not want to work it out. They just want to leave and go get another one. And then if you don't work out in 30 days, leave you and go get another one. And that's why, as we were saying previously, it's so easy for people to keep saying, oh, I'm in love. No, you're not. That is not how love operates.
Lust.
They're in lust. Thank you. Marriage requires you to have hard conversations, tough conversations. It requires you to accept the fact that I love you. I am even in love with you. But right now, I do not like you. Okay, I do not like you, but I am not going to leave you, nor do I expect you to leave me because what? I may be the teeth, you may be the tongue. We're going to stay together.
We're a team.
Yes, we are a team and we're going to work together. So that is requiring the tough conversations and knowing that it's okay not to agree. You know, one of the things I always talk about is there was this couple on their 50th wedding anniversary. They had me laughing so loud because she told him the very thing she didn't like about him the day she met him. She said, 50 years and I still don't like it. And he said, and what I didn't like about you when I met you, I still don't like. And girl, you still get on my nerve. And I laughed so hard. And then it was like, what you got a taste for? Let me go and start your dinner. You see? Because
they figured out how to coexist.
Yeah, they learned to coexist. Why? Because they went through the hard times together. They dealt with the hard conversations together. You have to go through the rough times in order to have a history, in order to have something to talk about when you get older. Like now, well, back then, they were both able to just sit and laugh about what they didn't like about each other, but they never left. And as my mom and dad used to say, I'm not going to pack my grip and leave, and you're not taking your grip, and you ain't going nowhere.
What's your grip?
Grip is your luggage.
Oh, my gosh. That was too old for me. What do you think about, because now it's a thing about like gender roles. That's like a very big topic in our generation. Like
gender roles?
Gender roles. So it's like if you're a man, you're supposed to do this. If you're a woman, you're supposed to do this. Yeah. That's the thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So for me, well, what do you think? I already know what I think about
gender roles. Gender roles. A man's supposed to do
this because he's a man. So I'll give you an example. So basically, the man is supposed to, obviously, I mean, I do agree with this. The man is a provider, the protector.
Yes.
And provide, protect.
Love, provide, protect.
Love, provide, and protect. I believe that those are for a man. For me, as a woman, I feel like women are the nurturers. So women take care of the home and like, you know, we cook, we clean, typically. Take care of the kids, all those things. However, I feel like as a team, it can be interchangeable because you do whatever you need to do to win the game. That's like if I'm playing football and I'm on a defensive line, I think that's what it's called. I don't know.
Yes.
I think it's on a defensive line and I end up in a space where the ball is coming to me. Do I not catch the ball and run to get the touchdown? Because that's not technically my job. That's not my role. My role is to tackle people. But if the ball is coming straight at me,
get the ball.
I'm going to grab the ball and we about to make this touchdown. Because at the end of the day, being a team player that's how we about to win this game. I see the opportunity. Let me help you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Versus me just saying, oh, well, I'm not supposed to do that, so I'm just going to let the ball fall right now. We done lost the Super Bowl because you playing a game. Talk about your role.
Oh, God. Okay. Gender roles, I understand why people say that, but me personally, I do not agree with that.
What were your roles in your marriage?
In my role, in my marriage, there was no gender role because even though your dad was the provider, the protector, he did all of those things. I stepped into wherever I needed to be for us to be good. I did whatever was necessary, even when he was out front, for him to be good. It had nothing to do with my role as the wife. It had to make sure, it was about making sure we both won.
As a unit.
As a unit, as a team. And so I did everything necessary for that to happen. And I still believe that when a man says, woman, you just stay barefoot pregnant and get in the kitchen, well, then you've just lost. Because there is so much more to a woman than that. When you tell a man that the only thing he can do is go fill up the car with gas and cut the lawn, you lost, because he's greater than that. And I believe that whatever, first of all, if a man and a woman is looking at each other as marriage, make sure they are your equal. You're to marry someone who fits you, who's equal, who can have the same mindset as you, who want to grow as you. You may not be as strong as he, or she may not be as strong as you in whatever goals you all set. But together, you put your qualities together, your capabilities together, they become equal, and you match one another, and you can make it to the top. That is why gender roles stifle that. If a woman cannot cook, she's a horrible cook. Just because she's a female, why would you put her in the kitchen? But the man is a great cook. So you mean to tell me he should not prepare the meals because he's a man and she's a woman? And he can cook some good food. No, you mean I'm not eating that garbage just because you're a female? And just because you can say you're the woman, that doesn't mean you don't know how to change a flat tire. And your husband may not know how to. I knew a couple like that. She could not boil water without burning the pot. But he could cook everything. But she will fix a battery. She could change a tire or change everything. And he said, I let her do it because I don't know how to do that.
Because it's just what works.
It's what works in your marriage. Whatever makes your marriage work, that is what you do. I do not believe in gender roles. I believe in a successful marriage at all costs and all means. There was a time when people couldn't get certain loans based on gender. But the one who could get the loan did not have the knowledge. So whoever can get it, go get the loan, get the money, do whatever you need to do to get your business going. It doesn't matter whose name is on it. What matters is what you do together to increase and to turn it over into greatness. So no, I do not believe in gender roles. I would never be in a marriage where I have to be put in a box because I'm greater than that. And even if I ever chose to remarry again, I would not be a wife in a kitchen cooking. I want to cook. You cook for me. I'm not going to, if I want to cook, I'll cook. But I never will put myself in that position because I've never been in that position. And as a wife, I was never told to stay in the kitchen because I'm a business person. My mind thinks business, and it was always respected with my, my business acumen. So yeah, you have to make sure that your husband respects who you are. Your wife respects who you are. And when you have that type of mutual respect, that is your shara. That's your equal. Because they won't get jealous of you for shining. Uh-oh, what did I say?
Jealous.
Marriages have jealousy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is one of the problems also in marriages that a lot of people don't want to talk about. The wife is jealous of the husband's success, or the husband is jealous of the wife's success. And that is because they do not have the hard conversations.
I just believe in any relationship it's just about understanding. And with understanding comes conversations. Can't understand a person if they're not willing to talk about who they are,
Yeah.
how they feel, what they
Right.
think.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna go nowhere.
You see, one of the things I know is that this generation, I've heard this a lot. We don't want to, we don't feel we should have to go through what you all went through back in the day. And so they don't want and the women say, well, I don't want the headaches you all had in your generation of having to do all the work around the house and all that. And they call it inheriting our headaches.
But I feel like if you don't want the headache, you might not want the marriage.
Hello?
Because even your brother and sisters give you headaches. You can't just throw them to the wolves. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't.
But come on, think about it. I mean, think about it, Angel. The headaches of the older generation gave the foundation of what a marriage should look like.
And it gave the foundation of family.
Of family.
And longevity.
Thank you.
That's how our grandparents were married for 50, 60 years. And like, you knew grandma and granddaddy is in the same house together and they raised 12 kids. And then those 12 kids had all their own set. Like, that's how,
Yes.
But how did you navigate through the headaches within the marriage with you and dad? Because I know there were headaches.
With those headaches, I took it as in public, no one ever had a right to know if my marriage was hitting a snag.
Was on a chopping block.
No one had a right to know. In my own house, you and your sister never heard us have a disagreeing word. We never did that because a marriage is two people, not the family.
Yes.
A marriage is two people, not the group or the community. So no one has any business knowing what is going on in your marriage but that man and that woman. You discuss it in privacy. You make whatever decisions you're going to make in privacy. If the marriage is not working and there is no way to salvage it, then you privately make a decision to do what you're going to do. But to call out.
But what about certain things that you guys encountered that were kind of public that, how did you navigate and show up because my father is a pastor too. How did you show up as the first lady on Sundays, knowing that these people know all my daggone business?
And you know what I would do? And this is what I tell women all the time. In that case, I would still walk in that door with my head held
as the
high.
First lady of this,
As first of all, the wife.
Oh, first.
The wife. I walked in with my head up. I was still Mrs. And I don't care what you think. You don't know until I tell you.
Okay.
And I stood in that position. And I went right back to doing what I always do. I never shrunk, nor did I sit down. I stood up. And if I normally will wear 3-inch stilettos, that particular week I may have wore 4 inches.
Oh, that's right.
Because I'm going to be higher and taller to let you know I'm still in charge. And I did that. And I did not allow people nor gossip to set the tone of my marriage.
How did you deal with it at home?
How did I deal with it at home? Oh, in the privacy of our bedroom behind closed doors, I would tell him what I thought, how I felt, what I was and was not going to tolerate, and I would get in his face if necessary. But out of respect for how I was raised, you never put your hand on anyone. He never hit me. I never hit him. That's the one thing we did not do that. There was never violence. It was always the respect of communication. Even when we were too angry to communicate, we agreed not to.
Yeah.
There were times when we agreed not to talk because of our anger.
Okay, in that sense, when you agree not to talk, how does that look? Did it look like, because I felt like I've been but I've been in a relationship and it's like when a person doesn't want to talk, they just leave.
Oh, no leaving.
So when you agree not to talk, do y'all just like sit on this couch and just like not talk to each other?
He may have gone in the one room with you all, and I may have gone in another room by myself for a little while.
And then later on, you
For a
guys
little
have
while.
right. So then you guys
But before we went to bed, we
It's a
talked about it
conversation.
and we dealt with it.
Okay.
And we never slept separately. That's one thing we did not do in all of those
interesting.
years.
It's interesting because you guys separated when I was what, 2?
Yes.
So I don't remember, obviously I don't remember that as a baby, but that is how I think things should go.
Yes.
Like, but I never experienced or saw you guys go through that. But it's still just in me to operate like that, if that makes sense. Like, yes, I feel like when I get married, not if, when I get married, no, you shouldn't sleep in different rooms.
Oh,
You
no.
should have conversations
Never.
before you go to bed. You should, if you get so angry that I can't talk to you about it right now, even if you might want to take a car ride, I got to just drive around the neighborhood for 5-10 minutes. I need to cool off. That's fine. But you better bring your butt back in 5-10 minutes and then we're going to have this conversation.
Yes.
Like I am like that. And I feel like that goes back to, I think, what I said in the beginning with it being the tough conversations. Like so many people are not willing to have the tough conversations. And with that, how do you there is no way to navigate without it.
Well, that's the thing.
That's when people give up.
This generation does not understand marriage is, what did you say? A sacrifice.
And it's selfless.
It's selfless. It's giving. It's the hard things. Even when you do not like where you are, you still have to give.
And you got to stand tall.
And stand tall. Marriage can never be 50-50 on nothing.
How did you know that your person was your person, that you were willing to make these different sacrifices and make that type of life commitment, obviously to God first, but secondly to your husband? And it could be, I mean, I don't want to be specific and say to your first husband, to your second husband, but just to a husband. Like, how does a woman know? Because I feel like a woman should know this before a man proposes, like, this is the person, even if she never says it to him. Because, yes, in our generation, people are quick to give up and be like, I'll just deal with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to be doing that for the rest of your life if you keep saying, I'm dealing with somebody else. It's always going to be somebody else. So how does a woman know when the person is her person?
Believe it or not, the one thing that I can say about me is that I believe everything is spiritual. And even back then, I did not understand that because I was too angry with God for taking my mom. But I still believed it innately. And so I knew that this was something different. I never had boyfriends, but I knew it was something that I could not understand or explain that was going to alter my life. And that's exactly how I knew that this was going to take me on a journey. And he was going to be the one that I went on it with. And then years later, when God spoke it, it made sense. At that time, oh, that's why I accepted him and went on this journey of marriage with him. Not only did I know deep down that this was the person that I was to be with, but I knew my life was going to take so many turns that it was going to lead me to where I am today. But I did not know the order and the steps.
Right.
But I knew it was going to be. In other words, I knew the big picture. I just didn't understand the intricacies of how I was going to get and navigate. So there is a spirit in you. There's your spirit man that you just know. That's that knowledge. That's the spiritual part of you that has that understanding, that connection. Because if that is your person, in there is something in you, which is your spirit, that will know them and they will know you. And when someone comes to you in marriage and asks for you to marry them, it should not be a shock to you. Because what God does is He tells you first, and then that person should only be a confirmation.
Mm.
And when people say, "Oh, God told me something to tell you," and you never heard it before, then I doubt God says that. Because if you know you love Him and He loves you, He's not going to have a total stranger come and tell you anything. You know already. You may not like what you know, but when that person speaks it, it will be a confirmation. And that is the exact same thing with marriage. I knew, I just didn't want to accept it.
Okay.
And that is the way it even was the second time around. I knew I had received his name, the location, everything. And I had never seen that person a day in my life. But I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And they came at a time when it was acceptable for me. And not a day before and not a day after. So, we play these games in marriage and say, "Oh, I never knew who my husband was." You kind of got an idea if you've ever seen him or if you received him in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that you with, those are not yours.
Mm.
You wanting something that's not for you. Let that go and wait for the one that's coming.
Message? You talking to me?
Okay. No, I'm not
Or you
talking
were just
to
talking to me
you.
right now.
Okay, keep it going.
um,
But what about this new marriage thing where everybody is living 50-50? The husband pays 50, the wife pays 50.
I
What's
don't get
with
it.
that?
I don't indulge in the 50-50 situation. It's just whatever works for you, your household works for your household.
But I mean, what? So the wife now is supposed to pay 50%? I'll marry you if you pay 50%. So you just want a roommate?
Basically,
Somebody to share the bills with?
that's why I don't even indulge, because I feel like it's just ludicrous. Like,
Yeah, to me, that's crazy.
it's slightly ridiculous that that's even a thing, because I just look at it like it's a team effort. If I have to pitch in 50 or 30 or 40 or 70 or 85
Oh,
or
100, whatever.
100 or 15 or 5, whatever makes the boat keep rowing, let's just keep going to the goalpost, to the finish line, whatever it is. I don't get wrapped up in who does what, how this happens or whatever. What I do get wrapped up in is whatever conversation I have with my partner, you keep your end of the bargain and your end of the deal. That way I always know what I have to do. You know what I mean? Versus if we are agreeing to this is where we want to be in 3 years and this is where we want to be in 5 years. If I have to sacrifice a little bit more today than you do today, so what?
Okay, well, see, that's different though. Number one, to sacrifice to make a plan to accomplish the plan, that is one thing. But to get married to someone, let's say you make 1,000, he make 1,000, and you get married knowing that everything you have has to be split down the middle
I'm not doing
50-50.
that.
That is out of order. How is he the provider and he gets to keep 50 and you get to keep 50? So who's providing for whom? That does
We
not
are
make
providing
sense to
for each
each
other.
other.
Yeah.
And the reason why I believe women, and I don't care, is it at me or what is that?
Don't at me.
When people go off. I
Don't
don't
at
care.
me.
Don't at me.
You don't even
but
have to add,
I
girl.
know, but I just wanted to say it. I don't care what people say. When a woman gets with a man and knowing upfront he's telling her, I don't care how much money I make, you have to give 50%. And if she's accepting
doomed.
that, she's accepting it because she, number one, is so desperate that she'll accept anything. Number two, she is fearful because of how she has seen life treat her mother or some other female, and she's afraid to let a man take total control financially over her. So it's one of the two reasons why she'll accept that 50-50. There is no way I'm going to accept 50-50 from nobody. I can do 50-50 by myself. I can save 50, spend 50. Okay? But ain't no way I'm going to marry a man that's going to tell me we're going 50-50 on the bills.
I'm not either.
That is never going to happen. And most women accept that because they don't trust the man to provide
Or maybe
for
they don't
them.
trust themselves that they making the right decision either.
Yeah. And they always want to weigh out and then be able to say, you didn't take care of me. I took care of myself.
This is another one though, because I've had this happen to me. A guy was pursuing me, and I'm sure you remember. And then the person literally had a conversation with me saying that they can't be with one woman.
They don't want to be married. Yes, I recall that.
I said that was me saying that you don't want to be married, but this person insists, and still to this day will insist, I love you, I do want to marry you. And it's like, not if you want to be with other people and me.
But how can he want to marry you? This was my point. No, you do not want to marry me. You want to be with us.
Well, ain't no us.
That's the point. So then there is no marriage.
But that's becoming more common now. It's becoming much more common and much more.
I learned the word.
What?
Throuple.
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 But that's what people. But see, sometimes
I learned
throuple. It's like couple, throuple.
Oh,
throuple,
okay. I knew it was something.
That is hilarious.
I was like, what?
So basically, yes, that is a thing where it's like people invite other people into their marriages, and or it's more of you, because a lot of men, they just want the freedom they don't want you to invite anybody in the marriage. They want to invite people in, and it might not be a throuple. It might not be all three of us intertwining together, but it might be you just accepting that I might want to be intimate, or not even just intimacy like in a physical manner, but I want to have a intimate relationship with someone else.
No.
It could be mentally, it doesn't always have to be physical, but they basically want another relationship without it being deemed as this is a side chick because my wife knows.
No.
Oh, it's an absolute.
Okay, and it's going to always be no.
For me too. But what do you think of the mentality of, or the mindset behind the person that is the women that accept it and the men that enforce it?
The men that enforce it, to me, that's no different than a bully on a school playground. Because they are
definitely feels like you're being bullied.
Their emotions on someone and basically making them feel less about themselves for not accepting your viewpoint on your weakness. And I say that because when a man is pursuing that on a woman, or in some cases a woman to a man, that shows to me that they're weak. And I would not want to be with them because they're weak. Because any weak person can be with many because there is no commitment.
No discipline.
But it takes a strong person to be with one. Because the commitment is there, the values are there. You can only love, provide, and protect one. The others will get whatever you have to give when you get to it. So it takes a strong, good man, a strong, good woman to be with one person. It takes anybody's weak bully to be with many, because they never have to be themselves. They can always be a representative for whoever they have to meet.
I like that. That's a
So
great one.
that's it. And I have a question to ask. Marriage means one man, one woman, not the family. That's what people get confused. And because of that, do you think today the reason people don't want to get married is because they don't want to be bothered with people's families after they meet them?
I think that could be it depends on the family that they're meeting. but I 100% think that could be the case. But I think that goes back to boundaries because and understanding what marriage is for the
Okay.
wife or the husband. Because I have a huge family and I definitely want my husband to know that you are marrying me for sure, but you are marrying into a family. That does not mean that my family takes precedent over anything that goes on in our household.
Okay.
But they do exist and they will be around at times. You know what I
But
mean?
do you think the mother-in-law or the father-in-law have a right to interject what they want into your marriage? Where they basically telling you what to do in your own house?
I mean, people could say whatever they want to say. I think it's up to me to filter out, you get what I mean, what is not needed. Because will I probably come to my mother or my father that have both been married for advice at times? Maybe. And you guys would probably give me advice. And it's up to me if I agree with what you're saying or if I know that that could be helpful to my marriage. It's up to me to say, hey, honey, you know, I have an idea or I have a suggestion. You know, this is how my parents made this work. But it's up to us to now come together as a unit and as a team to make the decision where is that something that you're okay with? Does that work for us?
But you won't just push it on him because someone told you to.
No, because at the end of the day, you guys don't have to live with us. You don't have to live with him and you don't have to live with his decisions or what, you know what I mean? Like, our home is our home. That's for us. Now, like I said, I will come to you for advice at times, not all the time, because I also don't feel like nobody outside of us should know all of our business. So it's like, there are things that I won't be sharing with you or anyone else. But yes, if I come to you in a time of need or for advice, but do I feel like it's appropriate for you to hear what's going on? Or if I'm in a car with you and we're having a discussion and you're in the passenger seat, do I think it's appropriate for you to just be and you should? No, I think that's out of order.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that because too often the mother-in-law mainly is the one that is interjecting what she wants from you for her son.
And a lot of times the mother-in-law wasn't
my
even,
son.
but she don't even be a wife.
That's true. Many of the mothers that are doing this were the other woman. She was not the wife. So she's literally telling the new wife how to take care of her son when she wasn't even the wife. So I'm just having a problem with what I'm seeing in this world today, where these women think it is acceptable and okay to control their sons' lives. That's wrong.
Because I don't really hear about fathers doing it with their daughters
No.
much. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but
Not unless it's something abusive. Then the dad will step in.
As he should.
Yeah, and rightfully so. But I'm just saying, I just don't understand where all of these women are coming up now trying to run their son's marriage. And to me, that's the reason why these marriages are failing, because everybody is in it.
So you see that a lot. A lot of family.
I see it too much.
A lot of family interjecting into the couple's relationship.
Too much. And I always tell them, if this is what you all going to do, then don't even get married. Because see, marriage is for a lifetime. A wedding is for one day.
Absolutely.
And people invest all this time into nurturing the wedding and preparing for the wedding, but they need to pay attention to the marriage.
Because the wedding is the start of a whole new life.
Yeah, but
that's not the finish line.
Day.
That's the beginning. The finish line is till death do us part.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
And they don't
the wedding is the beginning of a new life. That is not the finish line.
That's it. It's
people
only
say that
for one day.
The wedding or marriage is the end goal. To me, the end goal is a healthy, long marriage that has sustained. Like the end goal is for us to live happily ever after. That's my end goal. And it might not always be happy like a fairy tale, but the end goal is for us to live together till death do us part. That's my end goal.
But speaking of fairy tales, that's why I did not teach you fairy tales.
You did not.
I always taught you life.
You did.
Because there is no such thing as a Prince Charming going to come and take you away on his white horse.
Nope.
And you'll never have to feel pain or strain. No, I always told you about reality in life because marriage requires reality.
Mm-hmm.
It is the hardest thing you will do, but it's worth it.
I believe so.
I am very much 100% team marriage. I do not believe in divorce, and I've been divorced twice, and I still don't believe in it because I believe that when you are with your equal, and that is who God put you with, then you should be able to ride through the storms and come out okay. Now, I know a lot of people get married multiple times, but I'm going to say this and then we're going to be done, okay? Every man you marry is not your husband. And every woman you marry is not your wife.
I agree.
You get married to all these people. And for what? Just because you're in an emotional state? Many times, if you pay attention, you can tell what you was going through by who you married. But if you just stay with that one person, well, they changed. They supposed to change. Well, he's not the same person I married. Thank God. They should evolve for the good. Mm-hmm. And when people change and they grow for the good, mm-hmm. then that's a good situation. You should be able to go through it together. As I said in the beginning, no jealousy. Mm-hmm. Just evolve together. Push one another. Applaud one another. But when you are in these marriages, just for emotional sake, because you mad or you dealing with a situation, that's not fair because it's not going to last.
I agree.
And there's only, and I know people say, well, you can love many people. Let me put it to you like this, and I have to be bold about it. If you marry that one person, and that's the one God gave you, you can get married 5 times after that, or 5 times before that, and you will know the difference. That one person is your Shara. Mm-hmm. He did not give Adam 10 ribs. He gave him 1 to give, not 10. So them other 9 women, pick whoever it is, you will know who was your rib, because one of them won't fit. Only one of them will fit, and the other 9 won't. If that rib is giving you headaches, heartaches, and you miserable and going through hell and high water, that's because the rib don't fit your body, not your equal. Mm-hmm. You will know your wife because she will fit you. She will be right there, perfect. Y'all will go through hell and high water together, but you will fit one another. And even in the darkest of your marriage, it will be all right. Y'all will go through it and come out and see the light together. Why? Because she's your rib. Mm-hmm. So with that, I don't have anything else I want to ask you right now. Anything you want to ask me in closing?
I don't think I have anything.
Really?
For once, I don't have anything.
Ooh, nothing you want to say? Well, I'm going to say this as we prepare to close. Marriages will fail every time when you get married for stuff and things. Mm-hmm. When you marry somebody for money or prestige or to status to climb the ladder, that is not going to work because somebody else is going to come along better every time.
Every time.
And you're going to get booted out your position.
Every time.
Because there's always somebody that's going to do it better or greater. Mm-hmm. That's not the way to do it. Marriage should be the person that you're willing to go through life with. And when people say, oh, I want to be with them because I can't live without them, what do I always tell you?
Don't be with somebody that you can't live without. Because if you're married to them and that's your person, you need to learn and understand how to live with them.
Thank you.
Because if that is your person, why would you be without them?
Thank you. You always want to marry the person you can live with.
I agree.
And with that, on marriage and divorce, I never want to see you divorced. I always want to see you married. Divorce is another word for death, and it's hard and it's hurt. And I never want to see anyone go through it. And the best way to prevent it is to marry the one that God gives you and not the one you want.
Well, clearly I'm taking my time.
And you're doing it the right way. You know, people may put a status of time of when it should be, but it should be when God say, not when man say.
Love you, girl.
I love you, baby girl.